Pragmatism is all about learning by doing. It's the idea that one's reality is based upon their life experiences and their social interactions with other people, nature, and other things. Pragmatism is all about questioning truths and testing these truths, which is why it is very focused on experimentation. Pragmatists believe that reality is relative and is subject to change. Pragmatism is all about practical knowledge and learning and testing realities and ideas that can be used in all aspects of life. It is a very social philosophy and social, hands-on form of learning. The concept of progress plays a key role for pragmatists. Building off of this, the pragmatist outlook on life is very forward-thinking, looking towards and anticipating the future more so than reflecting on the past. Introduced in the mid-1800s, pragmatism has played a huge role in the field of education.
The two individuals that influenced the pragmatism philosophy were Auguste Comte and Charles Darwin. Auguste Comte was a French philosopher and was greatly influenced by the French Revolution. He believed that science could solve social problems, which relates to the idea that reality is based on interactions and that pragmatism is based on the biological science model of organic growth and change. Charles Darwin, an English naturalist, impacted the philosophy of pragmatism with his famous theory of natural selection. According to our class text, Darwin implied that reality was open-ended, not fixed, and subject to change. Pragmatists included Darwin's theory in the pragmatist idea of education, saying that education was also open-ended and subject to social and biological development. The three other philosophers that are connected with pragmatism are Charles Sanders Peirce, William James, and John Dewey. Charles Sanders Peirce, an American philosopher, is credited with forming the idea of pragmatism and thought more scientifically about the philosophy like Comte. The idea that reality is based upon experience comes from Peirce, who believed that ideas are just hypotheses until they are tested and learned through experience. William James, an American philosopher and psychologist, focused on the idea that the world and reality are subject to change, and that experience is unrestricted and a process. John Dewey, an American philosopher, psychologist, and educator, who was the most influential philosopher on the idea of pragmatism, believed that experience, thought, and consequence were all connected. Our textbook quotes Dewey from his Democracy in Education article saying, "We simply do something, and when it fails, we do something else, and keep on trying until we hit upon something which works, and then we adopt that method as a rule of thumb measure in subsequent procedures." This belief relates to, again, the idea that reality is based on experience.
Pragmatism has influenced the incorporation of group projects, hands-on activities, problem solving, the scientific method, and deductive reasoning. It has encouraged experimenting and problem solving. Instead of encouraging memorization and the reciting of learned facts, pragmatism brought education closer to learning techniques that are based on observing the world. It caused education to shift from the teacher being the main dictator of learning to the teacher being more of a guide. Children now were in charge of their own learning. Pragmatism was a much more progressive and diplomatic approach to teaching that had not been used in the past. It caused the field of education to become much more encouraging of kinesthetic learning and deep thinking.
Pragmatism would be an especially beneficial approach to teaching a visual arts curriculum. Students will learn how to come up with their own ideas based upon their experiences and then create art to reflect those experiences. Also, through experimentation, students will learn a variety of ways to communicate their ideas or emotions through art. In pragmatism, the teacher is seen as a guide or facilitator of knowledge. Therefore, the teacher could present information or demonstrate a technique to the students, then allow for them to work within the presented material themselves. As students work, the teacher could offer suggestions and guidance to help them through the intended objective of the lesson. Students would also be able to learn from each other and share ideas in collaboration. All of these scenarios reflect the idea of progress that pragmatism is based upon. Students build upon their knowledge with each new lesson to improve upon their skills and knowledge in a discipline.